I'll fire this bad boy up. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to yet another Buster Wolf podcast. Today we're talking about something special, and it's Virtua Fighter, a series that has been near and dear to my heart for years from Sega. Finally getting the chance to talk about it after so many delays. But I'm the host, Renegade Operative, and I would like to introduce first Hades.
Hello, I'm here to talk about Virtua Fighter, my favorite 3D fighting game of all time.
Next up is Rat.
Presenting the Rat Show. Oh, this is a classic Sega franchise, so of course I have to talk about it.
Next up is Kaneki.
Oh man, 주는 하인다요?
No, that's from Akira. Yes.
My favorite quote from him. I'm so excited.
Next up is Brandon.
Hello, everyone. I'm not the biggest Virtua Fighter fan compared to everybody else in here, but I want to give my perspective on the series. The characters are cool.
Alright, that's fair enough. So we're gonna get right into it with the first question, which is easy. So, what is your first introduction into Virtua Fighter, and how did you become acquainted with the franchise? I'll let Hades go first.
Oh lord. Well, I got introduced to Virtua Fighter via Virtua Fighter 1 and 2 on the Sega Saturn. I think 1 might have came with my Sega Saturn when I got it as a kid. And just 2 really solid, fun fighting games, so I stuck with the franchise since then.
I'm gonna go next. I got into this series, I think I remember just my cousin flat out bought it. Like, my story is nothing spectacular. It was just, he wanted to get a Sega Saturn, he needed a game on it, and they decided to say, hey, we're gonna give you this. You like fighting games, right? So here you go. And I started playing his copy of Virtua Fighter Remix, and I thought it was really fun and engaging and everything. And then the second time I saw Virtua Fighter was actually arcade based, because they had this old diner that was like on the side of the road, and my mom took me there to get breakfast, and then I saw Virtua Fighter 2 as an arcade cabinet on the side. So I'm like, okay, this is cool, they got a sequel now. I played it and I enjoyed the living shit out of it. I thought it was a dope, fantastic game. The first 3D fighter that I ever played in my life. So I was so akin to Street Fighter that this was all new when they went to the 3D polygons and having the characters look a little more realistic, even though it hasn't aged well, but for the time it blew my mind. So that's how I got introduced into the series. Next up is Rat.
So mine's probably going to be the more obscure route. I learned about Virtua Fighter via Virtua Fighter PC. This was a solid PC port of Virtua Fighter Remix to Windows, and it was how I found out about the franchise. I had never really seen a Virtua Fighter arcade machine in the wild, so this was my first real exposure. And then from then on, the rest is history, but considering what we have ahead of us, we'll get to that.
What about you, Kaneki?
It's gonna be an interesting way of how I got into the series. Shout outs to angry video game nerd James Rolfe for getting me into the series. And how, you say? Well, he did a specific episode on the Sega 32X, and while he was trash talking, the freaking device, because let's be honest, it was a piece of garbage that that only had a few library of games. Virtua Fighter 32X existed, and that's how I knew the franchise Virtua Fighter was even a thing. And then years later down the line, I tried Virtua Fighter 2 on the PlayStation 3, and I'm so in love with the characters, variety of characters, what they had in the roster. And then down the line, Virtua Fighter 5, because I never played 3, 4. I just skipped straight to 5, because at the time it was what the new iteration of Virtua Fighter was that where is that was 5, specifically Final Showdown. And I'm actually surprised. I don't know if the old Virtua Fighter had this, but the fact that you could play the boss character that was in all these Virtua Fighter games, Doral, is something new to me, and she's pretty broken, and I can see why she was never playable online to this day.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm very excited. Fun fact: did you know the voice actor Akage did one of the songs for Daytona?
Is it that Daytona song?
Yeah, that one. That was the voice actor for Kage.
Oh shit, I never knew that.
I'm just gonna picture him, Kagemaru, behind a mic singing that song now.
And then doing like a giant Azuna drop on someone's forehead. Got that.
He does the flip kick to the mic, and then he pile drives the producer. Yeah.
Oh man, I can't wait to answer the next question, but I'm done for now.
Brandon, it's your turn. What is your experience, your first experience with the series?
To be quite honest with you, I don't remember how I even came into contact with the series. But the earliest memory I have is playing it on PlayStation 3. I did play 2 and 4 at some point. 4, I remember when I played it. I think it was with my cousins way back when 4 was still new. But my most experience with the series is actually 5, which I'm pretty sure that's probably be most people's experience nowadays, considering it's the more accessible title compared to most.
Yeah.
I played 5 on PS3. I played it in Yakuza, actually. I think it was 6 quite a bit. Don't know why, but yeah, I just went back every now and then to play Virtua Fighter because it was, accessible. It was there. And of course now with Ultimate Showdown because it was on PS Plus way back when it released, first release. So I grabbed out that. So yeah, that was what most of my experience comes from as far as playing games. Other than that, though, like I was privy to them in other mediums that's not in their games, which would be Project Cross Zone or DOA 5, aka the true sequel to Virtua Fighter at this point because they haven't been to another game.
So here's question number 2, and this one's interesting to answer. So Virtua Fighter is known to be a fighting game that is universally hard to pick up and play. Why do you think this is the case, and do you agree with that sentiment that people say this about Virtua Fighter? I want Kaneki to go first on this, and then Brandon, you can go second.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's really well known that it's hard to master and pick up. And why do you think it's the case? You know what? That is a question that I can't even answer myself. Like, why is the game so hard to pick up and master? I've been wondering that since, even Virtua Fighter 1, when that game came out, and I didn't even know about it back then. I think I still want the answer to that to this day from Sega, if they can, like, answer that as possible. Do I agree with the sentiment that, that a game like Virtua Fighter is universal? I mean, should be, like, universally hard to master and pick up? I would say out of all the fighting games, these days being accessible and more people, more casuals get to play, to me, Virtua Fighter should be the only exception where if you're a hardcore fighting game player, uh, and you want to play like, let's just say no gimmicks or no bullshit, and you want to learn your characters at the highest possible, then this is the game for you, basically.
Brandon, it's your turn. What do you think about this question?
I do agree with it to a certain extent, but I mostly say that because like they hardly changed their how do you put it, their style since the
Yeah.
first game, right? Because like Virtual Fighter compared to most other like fighting games is, well, about to purposes, very arcade. Could not come out in Sega, right? So a lot of their games at the time were very arcadey feeling. In contrast to say, Tekken or even Street Fighter, right? Tekken is like, at the time at least, was easier to pick up than Virtual Fighter. But over time, though, they evolved that franchise, and now it's one of the more technically harder games to pick up because there's so many more, moving parts. Whereas Virtual Fighter now is like, it's just been, I would say, the same-ish type style since day one, right? So
Yeah.
I think it's harder because like they haven't like changed what the structure was there because it's been the same. That's all.
Their easiest game to pick up is Virtua Fighter 5, and even that's still hard to learn.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. But to give it credit, at least, so once you pick it up and learn the controls, though, like it's definitely rewarding.
Oh yeah.
Like I've seen some people, go ham in the game. I'm like, yeah, they definitely earn that right.
I'm
But Hades, the last time you played Virtua Fighter 5.
Yeah, what's up?
also Kaneki, you're breaking up a little bit.
Oh, I said it's just like Hades when we last time played Virtua Fighter 5. He did boarding moves.
Mm.
I'm gonna go next. I'm gonna try to make a interesting comparison, but follow along. So I think that this is among the rare hardcore fighting games where, of course, granted, there are some games that are a little bit easier to get into than others, but again, you could look at that and say not really. For example, I think Virtual Fighter 4 is a little bit easier to play, but at the same time, it's still quite hard to pick up, master, and go through it. So I compare that to something like KOF, where the foundation of that game has been mostly strict inputs, not really having any super accessible mechanics, and catering to the demographic that plays it. Do I think that this should change? No, because again, a lot of people play Virtua Fighter for this reason. I guess one thing they could do is maybe like tamper with the controls and do what Capcom is sort of doing right now with the fact that you have your classic control scheme where nothing really changes, and then you have a little easier throughput, and it's still somewhat balanced out in Street Fighter 6. Overall, that's it. I don't think they should touch nothing else. I think that it should still be strict. You got your strict punches and kicks that you could do. Guarding, that should still be in there for any other like newer entry. We're going to talk about that later. And excuse me, it should be that same hardcore Virtual Fighter feel. I don't think that should change for anyone really. So we're gonna go with Rat next.
Because Virtua Fighter seems really simple at first. It's 3 buttons. How hard can it be? It comes down to the complexity of the character. Mastering a character is the equivalent of mastering a martial art. And I would say when it comes to Virtua Fighter, and I have a feeling that people are going to disagree with me on this, there's no real character in this game that you can just start with. I mean, most people will point to Akira as the beginner character, and they are dead wrong.
Oh,
No way. Not a chance.
But
no,
he's the franchise. How can he be? He's literally the hardest character in the game to learn.
Oh,
I very much agree.
So I don't think it's a hard game to get into. I just think it is a hard game to fully understand. But you could say that about most any other fighter, like say Tekken, for example.
I think in the case of Tekken, it's more like simple to pick up but hard to master. Whereas
Yeah.
Virtua Fighter is more like the sort of the other way around, but leans more into the middle. You can pick it up, sure, though, but have fun mastering it.
Yeah, in my opinion, Tekken's more intimidating because you have buttons associated with the limbs of your body, and furthermore, you have more characters to fight against, and they're just as, if not more so, complex than the average Virtua Fighter character. So I can see the intimidation factor, but it's like any old martial art you pick up. Don't try to learn it all at once. Like start small, pick it up as you go along.
yeah. I feel with Tekken, it's all about the movement game, whereas Virtua Fighter is, if you're not good with trying to get reads on your opponent, you're dead, because that life bar is going to go down really, really fast. Hades, what about you? What do you think of this question?
I would definitely say that Virtua Fighter probably is one of the more like harder franchises to pick up and play. But I think it is the same with any 3D fighter where every character just has like super deep moveset. Like I think L Blaze has over like 200 moves alone, and I don't think L Blaze is one of the more complicated people in the game. I think that does filter a lot of people out from wanting to pick this one up, and I think Virtua Fighter is just very like no bullshit when it comes to its mechanics and stuff. It's very straightforward, and at a higher level, it's very like parry and deflect heavy. So yeah, I would say it's definitely one of the more harder to pick up and master for sure.
Yep. Also, if you try to spam and you're fighting someone good, you will get easily countered and parried, and it's not a good time. So they really want you to dig in and learn those fundamentals of the game. Same for stuff like the somersault kicks and how that takes like literally almost half a health bar if you're fighting with the Bryants. I think that if folks want to really dig in and learn this game, they have to go to the lab, train, train, train. I know that's like rudimentary at this point. It's like, yeah, go to the lab, train your ass off. But this is like, learn all the buttons immediately, because from what I noticed when I first got into it, I was a baby and I was just like, what does PPK mean, or the little moves that they have, or G, which is guard. That's stuff that you want to learn immediately, and then figuring out what's your block button, which is in this case I think it's square. So you're gonna want to know all that ahead of time, otherwise you're going to get stomped if you're fighting online or fighting against like locals.
I say that's still easier than saying 1-2.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because P means punch and K means kick.
Yeah,
No
and
way.
G is guard, but you know how people are when they go from control scheme, button scheme to button scheme. It gets a little bit daunting after a while.
Yeah, I think it varies depending on the control scheme. For example, MK and Tekken, it's pretty easy, simple to remember. Just gotta change one button prompt for both franchises. But when you get to the anime fighters, that's when I'm like, yeah, no, just tell me the commands on the controller.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they do with these buttons where it's like all these weird combinations and they don't tell you what's on the controller. Like I don't know what GA stands for. What the fuck is that? But that's another rant entirely. I'm just kind of glad that if you go from something like DOA to Virtual Fighter, you might have an easier time because same button labels really. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's like you gotta practice and know what it is, and know how to guard, how to deflect, and also how to counter people, because you're going to be mostly trying to poke people to death and get them in a big combo in order to end the match, which is what 90% of my Virtual Fighter matches are online. So I think that's it for this question. Now we're going to get to the fun stuff. Who is your favorite characters to use in the roster? Describe why. Who wants to go first?
I guess I'll go. I'll answer part of this simple.
All right.
The first character that I really picked up would be Sarah, followed by Vanessa, and then Akira. Considering that I played Virtua Fighter 5 the first time as a teenager, you could probably obviously guess why I picked Sarah and Vanessa. But aside from that, though, like I did eventually, fell in love with their combat style, even to a point where even DOA 5, I still use Sarah and Akira. So yeah, I'm a loyalist for those characters in particular. But if my favorite character overall, it will still probably be Sarah. Generic answer, maybe, sure, but no, I can't help it.
Yeah, that's fair enough. She used to be my main before I switched to Jackie, and I still use her, so she was GOAT.
She has the best. I think it's when you lose to her quotes that better run home to mama now.
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
It's so deliciously condescending. It might be my favorite insult in a fighting game like of all time.
Even good guys lose. And then she does the laugh. Yeah, the mind,
That's-
because she
it's
was
so
being
good.
mind controlled. The laughing is too good.
Oh god, that reminds me of Karin, but again, another story. Kaneki, since you were saying something, how about you go next?
Okay, well, thankfully she's not rich, friend, so you don't have to worry about Sarah being a rich girl.
Thank God, no rich bitch.
But my favorite character. Actually, I had two favorite characters. At first, I wasn't feeling Akira at the time, so who was my next big thing if it was not Sarah? Simple. I picked the ninja, Kage Maru himself. And oh boy, he was, despite being hard in the older games, when it comes down to Virtua Fighter 5, oh man, he was my favorite character to learn. because the combos you could do with him, and then the setups with a couple of juggles. Oh man, it's like please put him in the future crossover game. This man is too good to be in just Virtua Fighter, man. He has so much potential.
I'm gonna go next. I have like three picks really. If people seen the Virtua Fighter tournaments, you probably know who they are. So number one is of course Jackie. I've used them ever since. I've made people really freaking mad that I use this character. I even got perfects on people that were like, "Oh, what the? Can you stop using Jackie for the love of God?" But I can't help it. He's one of my favorites, along with Sarah. I don't use her as much. I think the last time I used her a lot was DOA 5. That being said, though, Jackie's the man, and his machine gun punches, stupid phrases like "I handcuff lightning" and all that other stuff is just fantastic to me. And plus, he's a biker, so maybe that's just a thing because I also like Paul, so it makes perfect sense.
Much
Next-
faster than lightning.
Yeah. Next up is who the hell? I think it's Leon Lion, whatever his name is. It's the kid with the
It's pronounced Leon. I used
Yeah.
to call him Lion as a kid, but it's Leon.
yeah. Leon is pretty good as well. He just if I feel super sweaty in Virtual Fighter, which is going to be 99% of my matches on ranked because after Dan everything goes to shit, and I just end up saying, all right, I'm gonna poke everyone out because I know what they're gonna do. Super sweaty nature online.
Discorded.
Hello.
Oh, the same
I-
thing happened to me.
I
Oh,
am
good
back.
Lord.
I got force updated, but it's fine. Oh, where was I? I was talking about my Leon. I said, he's super unorthodox, and that's the cool part about him because you can just poke people to death and jump on them like a snake. And I always thought that was like super intimidating and weird and awesome. And I guess for the last one, before I let someone else go, is going to be Brad. Brad Burns, the weird sort of Muay Thai kickboxer. I liked his cocky demeanor, and it's cool that they added someone in that I could sort of just play around with. He's very stylish, so I always liked all his kicks and rush down moves. Rush down characters are some of my favorites in Virtual Fighter, which is fucking amazing. And I always like Brad since he came into the series from Evolution. So from there to Virtua Fighter 5, the man is GOAT. Might makes right. And then that's my corny ass characters done for right now. So who didn't go next?
Be me.
Nero.
I'll be next.
Oh, Nero. Hey, what's up, man?
Nero is here.
Oh, hey, what's up, guys?
Yeah, Nero. Well, before I let you go, I'm gonna let Hades go first. So we're just simply talking about our favorite characters to use. So Hades, what are yours?
I am the resident L Blaze main. It's
yeah.
weird because usually
Yeah.
Kicked all our asses
Hot
too, of course.
dog.
I love that character so much. It's weird because it's the first time I've ever really caught into like a non-big body grappler. L Blaze being the Lucha Libre representative on the cast.
Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, basically. He does do the Mysterious Rana as one of his back grabs. I don't know if they call it that though, but anyway, all of his grapples are just so smooth and like really fun to pull off, and he's just so highly mobile. And for once, I actually enjoy doing that in a fighting game. I usually don't play quick, smaller characters. Plus, how many luchadors? Actually, there's a shit ton of luchadors in terms of every fighting game. I feel like Lucha Libre is kind of like an underrepresented style, though. Following them, as a kid I mainly played Kagemaru because he was a cool ninja, and I followed that up with Wolf and Jeffrey as well because I always played big body grapplers even now. But yeah, I mostly I love playing Hellblaze so much. He's also got a lot of very cheesy one lines like everybody has in this game. This is for real. Say your prayers. It's all good stuff.
Nero, since you just got here, how about you give your turn on characters you like in Virtual Fighter, people you like to use, fight with, etc.
Let's see. First off, for Virtual Fighter 4, I mainly have been using Wolf. I'm very unfamiliar with the big body characters since they're not really my type of character. So it's cool to actually learn them and see how it feels for people to actually play that type of character. For Virtual Fighter 5, my favorite characters to use are Jean Kujo and Go Hinagami, the J6 guys. I do like Jean Kujo's style of karate and his history with one of the characters, Leon, is pretty interesting. And Go's judo is really cool. His brutality in terms of the style, really interesting. And it got
I
invoked.
forgot about that character.
Yeah, I think Gene came during Virtua Fighter 5, if I'm not too mistaken, right?
No, not Gene. I'm talking about Go.
Go? Oh, yeah, Go. I even forgot about more, actually, so.
Yeah, I think 5.4 they added more characters.
Jean actually made his debut in Virtual Fighter 5R. He
Yeah,
was crazy in it.
yeah, he does massive damage, bro. Like, I definitely remember fighting him, like, all of the time, because that's all, like, new people pick the shit.
Yeah. And he could break your guard and mix you up with a lot of his strings.
I'm trying to debate if this man is gonna be on the most hated list, because that's characters you hate next. But no, I'll pick somebody else. I have characters that could fit there. But Rad, did you go?
No, I haven't,
Huh?
because most of the Sarah Bryant discussion was out there previously, and I like using Sarah the most. She's kind of how I learned Virtua Fighter, because Flamingo stance. I like me my kick characters, and Sarah has kicks for days and weeks. Just absolutely a fun character to play. Plus, she's closer to Nina, so there's that. Otherwise.
Yeah.
Otherwise, my side character is the wild man, Jeffrey McWild.
Ooh.
To go back to our previous question, if there is one character that I recommend you try if you're just starting out with the game, Jeffrey. He has a limited amount of moves, he's powerful, so he hits hard. So you don't have to learn too much. The only thing you have to really understand is that Splash Mountain is your best weapon. It ain't just a ride at Disney World. It is a powerful throw.
Powerful.
Wait, so is Splash Mountain that like giant power bomb that he does?
Yep.
Yeah, he puts his all into that power bomb.
Oh, yeah, I've seen someone hit by that, and literally they had like 20% life left, so they got fucked.
It's worse in Virtua Fighter 2. It's a one-hit death.
Oh man, okay, that I did not know.
Yeah.
Shit.
Also, in terms of campy lines, Jeffrey is far more straightforward. When he wins, he lets you know it. I win.
I win. I think the most thing I hated though was, well, I'll save that for the next question, because I think he might be on my most hated for fighting against.
Also, Jeffrey has gotten a bit of a resurgence in popularity. Shoutouts to Kenny, Mr. Unruly, for giving Jeffrey his unofficial catchphrase of Virtua Fighter.
Oh, what might that be?
Bitch, I'm wild. Whenever he knocks you down and he does a body splash, he must say, bitch, I'm wild.
Yeah, you just get body splashed like six times?
Every Jeffrey main must say, bitch, I'm wild if they do a follow-up knockdown attack.
Bitch,
Also-
bitch, I'm wild.
Also, no love for Vanessa, huh? I just noticed that.
I gave my love for Vanessa, man. It's alright.
Wait, what? Hold on, repeat it. What?
You're exactly what I said.
I give my love. This man is ready to fight. I'm like, no, shit. The podcast
Yeah, I'm
just...
ready to fuck. My suit is so tight.
What the fuck? All right.
My man, these are all virtual characters. It says so in the
Oh
title.
my god.
All right. He's about to put on his VR headset any minute now and go right to town.
Virtual dimension.
Yep.
Oh, you know, that'd be funny if they do make a Virtua Fighter VR. That's virtual.
I thought they already tried this first person shit with Street Fighter and it didn't work out too well.
It's me getting
Twice.
hit by Cammy's back throw in first person view,
Her back throw.
Twice.
where she does the head scissor and throws you down like that.
Because anyone remember the Street Fighter 5 VR? Of course you haven't, because it was a mod.
No, I don't think I want to remember it. But going back to the topic, is there anyone else that has favorite characters they want to list off for using? No.
Well, I did say Akira was after Kage. Like, when you learn Akira, oh man, you might as well become the fucking master of the world in that game.
I want to give a personal shout out to Taka Arashi for giving the sumo representation to Virtua Fighter that was mostly absent until 3 came around, and then was absent again because boy too big.
So he got cut.
Only character to have ever been absent between Virtua Fighter games too.
That's right.
Yeah. Mostly everyone came back except for, well, he's one of the notable ones at least.
He's the only
Don't worry.
one. Everyone else came back fine.
Damn, really? There's no one that missed the roster?
That's the one unique thing about Virtua Fighter is if someone was introduced in a game, they were in the next game, except for Taka Arashi.
Interesting.
Don't worry, the Ultimate Edition. I can't speak right, but the latest version of Virtua Fighter 5 has him. That has everybody, even him.
Ultimate Showdown.
Yeah, Ultimate
Oh,
Showdown.
shoutouts to Lao Chen for having that cool Tiger Swallow fist fighting style.
Yeah, Lao Chan is a character I actually use a little bit. I haven't
That
used.
man is still alive.
He's still alive, even though he has like a terminal illness now, and he's like super fucking old. But you can be old and still hump. I mean, it comes
He's
with the
still
territory.
kicking.
And just look at Shun-Di, that's all he's doing, right?
Yeah, he's still kicking.
You know
too.
what? Shoutouts to Shun-Di too. I don't play him, but I love that guy.
All right, so we got to get to the characters we hate fighting against, or just hate in general. I'll go first, and then I'll let everyone else go. So, I don't like fighting Jeffrey. I hate it because the first thing that happens is I'm gonna get grabbed. I know it. The match starts and he's ready to do Splash Mountain. So that's one of the annoying things that I found when fighting against him. Cool character, but when fighting him, it's a different story because I get very, very mad about it. Next up is I'm trying to think. I'm gonna put Shun-Di on here because I don't like when that man gets drunk. He gets drunk as fuck. And all of a sudden he starts like trying to put his body upside down like a grasshopper and kick you. And I'm like, okay, he's gonna do this shit for a while. So I gotta sidestep, get around him, kick him, get him on the ground, beat him up. It's like beating up an old man with a cane or something, but he's a skilled fighter, so I gotta watch my step or I'm gonna get fucked up. Next is gonna be, I really don't like fighting good Akuras because their defense is so good. It's like I'm just getting elbowed to death before the combo even ends, and I could barely get around this guy. So if you fight like a very good Akira, you're basically gonna have to be on defense duty for like half of the match. Otherwise, if you get opened up, it's over. So those
You're literally fighting against a wall.
You're fighting the wall, and the brick wall is coming towards you. So you gotta decide what to do quick in terms of defending yourself. So it's again super cool character. I like Akira, but he's fucking hard to fight against if they're masters. And that's the characters I don't like fighting against the most. Everyone else I have a relatively okay time with, all things considered. So I'm gonna pass the baton to Hades.
It's gonna sound like kind of a cop out, but there's really no one I don't enjoy fighting in Virtua Fighter. Because like if you're learning your character, you're putting like a certain amount of like skill and artistry into it. And there really isn't anyone that I've fought that I'm just like, God, this is fucking so unfun. Especially compared to a lot of characters I fought in recent fighting games that have kind of ruined them for me. But Virtua Fighter is always just pretty straightforward. I don't hate fighting anybody.
Yeah, I really had to think about my three, but I could see someone saying I'm really not seeing any issues with the characters at all and the roster, so that's fine. How about you, Rat Rat?
So, I'm doing my arcade mode run. I beat Akira. I'm on the top of the world. And then comes Dural. Dural is a character that you get one chance to fight, and you are fighting them figuratively and literally underwater.
I was gonna say, is it the underwater fight? That one's.
I hate fighting Dural. Because I know whenever I fight Dural, it isn't going to end well. Because it's just, Dural moves at regular speed, you don't. It's just, it might not be the case, but that's what it always feels like.
The underwater battle, is that from Virtua Fighter 2?
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah. Thankfully, you fight her on solid ground in future Virtua Fighter games, but the 1 and 2 is especially bad. But yeah, much like Hades, I don't really hate anyone in this cast. It is an overall solid classic cast. No real dents in the armor, so to speak. Except for Dural. Fuck her.
She's a boss. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I think
A one-time boss.
She could be.
She's also playable in Final Showdown.
Yes.
Online.
She's I was gonna say she was also playable in the re-released Virtua Fighter 2 on 360 and PS3. If you beat the game once.
All right, so who's up next? Kaneki, how about you? Any characters you find annoying to go against?
I have to think hard on this. If it's not Jackie, then definitely what you said earlier about Akira. He really is. When you fight a good Akira, you're basically fighting a wall. It's just like how you supposed to compete? How you supposed to fight against Akira? You gotta learn that player how he plays that character. Unless you just somehow magically push him out of the map and ring him out, and that's the only other way I could say to win the match. But good luck trying to push him out of the ring. But yeah, fuck Akira when fighting him, and also fuck Toral. Although she's the easiest to beat in Virtua Fighter 5, so we're cool on that.
Yeah, it's like I all I did was just grab her, and that was it. Brandon, what about you?
I'm gonna be the odd man out here and say that I'm gonna say Jackie, but in DOA 5, it's AI just fucking obnoxious to deal with. Literally spams parries all day and actually wins.
Oh, keep my character, man.
Yeah, he's so good too. Like, haha, gotcha, bitch. And yeah, I don't like dealing with that. But as far as like the actual series itself, though, I don't have much of a hatred towards one because I haven't really, I guess, have a long standing history like you guys do. But maybe the final boss, Darul, or his her name is, yeah, fuck that.
Oh, look who showed up.
Oh,
I don't see anything.
me new. Oh,
introduce yourself.
That's Drill. Hello, Drill. You're late.
Oh, sorry, I fell asleep.
Man.
I feel that.
Let's just admit that on air.
I just want to put a pillow over his face and make
Fuck
him go
it,
to
he
sleep
admits
again.
it live.
Jeez. But Drill, since you're here, we're talking about the Virtua Fighter podcast stuff. We're on characters that we don't like fighting against, but I guess you can answer the last one and this one together. So characters you don't like fighting against, characters you actually like. Go.
Least favorite characters fighting against, probably Kagemaru, because he's always been annoying to fight. Also, favorite characters to use, obviously Sarah and Akira. Those are the characters that always, were easy to play. And this might be a bit sacrilege, but I always put in a ton of time on the Sega Genesis version of Virtua Fighter 2. No, Saturn.
Okay,
That's such a strange version to exist. Like a fully 2D Virtua Fighter that exists on the Genesis and is legit, you know?
I have to
Yeah.
ask because I've played this game once. It was way back when. What made this game so terrible? Was it just the fact that they were doing this in 2D, or was the mechanics actually shit? Because I don't remember.
I mean, they basically turned a 3D game into a 2D game, and it wasn't bad to play. There's much worse fighting games you can play on Genesis, like Rise of the Robots, for example.
Mm, it seems like this is their version of saying, hey, we kind of don't want to leave you guys behind on these great games, so we're gonna go ahead and put this and downscale it, which is not uncommon from what I heard back in certain eras. Because I mean, the X-Men Origins Wolverine game, the one on PS3 and the one on PS2, couldn't be any different. So it's
Yeah.
it kind of reminds me of that same ballpark, but yeah, I
was
just heard.
gonna say
Yeah, go ahead.
it was like it would be like if they made Tekken 1 on PlayStation, but they're like, fuck it, let's make a SNES version.
Yeah, I can see how that's probably not appealing at all to the people that want to move forward, so I get that.
Made it onto
Yeah.
Sonic's Sega Genesis Classic, so I mean, can it really be that bad?
Yeah, and they put it on Switch Online, and honestly, I don't have a. I actually thought it was pretty fun, pretty ambitious.
When people say that Virtua Fighter doesn't really have missing characters, that's what the Genesis version is for, because it's not fully Virtua Fighter 2.
We don't talk about that.
There's no Leon or Shun, I believe.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, that's a bit
It's
of a
literally
downgrade.
missing characters.
Yep, that's a bit of a downgrade.
Oh, and this, but it's not the worst version of Virtua Fighter 2 because, believe it or not, there's one on our zone.
We don't talk about that either.
No,
Like
face
they,
your
like
sins.
Sega would just port it on anything. Like I guess that wasn't their competition.
Hmm. That
But
is,
yeah.
it's interesting history, but
As,
oh, go ahead.
as for how I got introduced, it was actually with Virtua Fighter 5 on PS3. Back when they ported it over, and I rented it from a Blockbuster. If anyone ever remembers that,
Oh yeah.
90s, baby.
Well, that was a fun time. Sadly, like then I played the older games like 2 and 4. And I didn't get a chance to play 3, but that looked pretty good for the time.
Mhm.
But yeah, you can say that I'm not very good in Virtua Fighter. I mean, I'm kind of, aside from Soul Calibur, I've never been the best at 3D fighters. But in Virtua Fighters, like extremely technical is the problem.
Yep.
But yeah,
We talked about that earlier, and it's kind of just like, as we said, it's fine for what it is. Every fighting game is not going to be the same, but some are trying to be consistent. So that's one thing I can appreciate that franchise for. But they could do things like, hey, let's give people a control scheme to fuck with, and it could make their lives a little bit more easier. And that's it. And everyone's still on like equal playing fields like Street Fighter 6. But Nero, it is your turn. I don't think you went on characters you hate fighting yet.
Let's see. I'd first say Taka Arashi because he's not called the boss battle for a reason. Well, for no reason. You have to do like specific combos on him to actually do damage on him. I don't like fighting the monk or Shundi.
Oh, I know who you're talking about with the monk.
Lei Fei.
Lei Fei, yeah. Ooh, I used to use them a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
I forgot Krillin was in the game.
Adult Krillin, the bullhead. But yeah,
A
I
good,
see that.
good late pay will put you on a t-shirt.
Put you on a t-shirt? God damn. He's about to put the
But
coffin
yeah.
drop on you.
But yeah, side question. But how did you guys feel about like the varying voice acting, especially for like the American characters?
Well, I can say this much. It's never been great. It's always been very weird dialogue and very interesting terminologies, but that's kind of the fun of it. Even at 5, they were... Yeah, they should keep it. Even at 5, it's... The English is fantastic. I love it. It's so stupid. Don't change it.
It's like martial arts
Also,
movie dialogue. It's very cheesy
the
and fun.
The Brad show.
It's time for the Brad Show.
Yeah, and I think one of the V8, I think like Sarah's V8 talked about it. Like the recording process was really weird, and also the fact that it was like during the time where Sega were just getting actors like from that just happened to speak English.
Yeah. It's like you're moving in slow motion. It's
Literally 90% of El Blaze's intros. Start running now.
I've got the advantage. You've got nothing. Huh.
And of course, Wolf. So what?
I love it. It's so
Big is
stupid.
beautiful.
To me, strong is beautiful.
Doesn't he howl at one point?
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
Let's fight again.
Oh crap! No, that was a lost quote from Leon from Virtua Fighter 2. I was about to say.
Another fun fact if people don't know. Wolf is a natural person.
What, really?
Yeah, that was a natural wrestler. Now, I don't know what happened to him, but that was a natural wrestler.
That is
I think he did some NJPW matches back in the day.
Oh yeah.
that is
Yeah.
fucking
I
crazy.
remember like
He
also
was in like an all Japan wrestling game for the Saturn. Him and Jeffrey.
Huh.
yeah.
He was
Also,
really-
I think like WWE Asuka also did motion capture for Virtua Fighter 5.
Nice. Nice.
Actually, Wolf in his real life run was portrayed by a guy named Jim Steele.
Jim Steele.
He does not seem to have like anything of note that I can look at. He has a couple different ring names, but Wolf Hawkfield's the only one I recognize.
That is absolutely amazing. I've never known that at all. That's true. Oh shit. Okay. I like that. That's a cool piece of history. Although one of his names is Love Machine X, so I just find that a bit funny. But we're gonna move on to the next question here on the document. Let me open it up since the Discord wanted to be weird. So I'm gonna leave this to Hades and Rad because I'm pretty sure they're the only ones who really know this question. I kind of know it a little bit, but a double question: did anyone here see the Virtua Fighter anime, and did anyone play Virtua Kids? So
Yes and yes.
fellas, I'm gonna let you guys go first.
Do we want to do the anime first, or do we want to do kids first?
I'd say go with the anime. I think. there's
Word
no
that,
conflict there.
please. Word that, please. Rat.
What is the Akira intro? Because I have a feeling you're gonna know it.
One should never harm others, nor
themselves in the face of anger. My creed.
This is the guideline that I live by, and it is the
It's the
law
law of my
masters.
masters.
But
However,
again, doesn't apply to scum like you with no discipline. Come on.
Oh my god, this is the most Saturday morning anime you will ever watch.
That's his
It
fucking.
is
That's his fucking Sailor Moon transformation right there.
Yes. It is 24 episodes of sheer 90s corny bliss.
Yep.
And oh god, thank you Discotech for re-releasing Virtua Fighter the anime upon the world. And even adding in the second season that never got dubbed or released in any manner before this. God, that anime is so it's such a gem.
It really
Imagine,
is.
imagine if you will, Akira. We have to give him a personality. He's got to have something. He's the main character. How about just make him Goku?
Yeah, I was gonna say he literally is just Goku from Dragon Ball. 100%.
He just eats like crazy.
It's kind of a clueless dumbass too. It's great.
Yep. It's like Akira, Pai, and Jackie just traveling the world, doing like wacky adventures. Eventually, they do roll around to Virtua Fighter 2's plot, where Sarah gets kidnapped by this woman who is making the ultimate fighter, and she sees Sarah fight, and she's like, "I'll have a little bit of that."
Who wouldn't? Eva Durix is the main antagonist lady.
Yep.
And she hires Kagemaru to kidnap Sarah, and that starts
Yep.
basically the whole plot line.
So, season 2 spoilers. She comes back. And she brings with her a golden Dural.
Oh God, help us all.
Who has learned from Dural's mistakes in the first season and can now actively copy fighter abilities on the fly. Oh, man.
God help us all. I also do like that. It kind of has like it has like the Fist of the North Star thing, where you know how like Fist of the North Star, it'll like describe the move Ken's doing. And,
it's like this move's strength is incomparable.
The giant swing. It's so fucking overdone. I think the best one, they do one for Shun-Di, and the move is just him sitting down.
Yep.
It's like, instead of doing anything, the martial arts master just sits down.
Yes.
Whoa, what the fuck?
It tries to teach you about the martial arts and the cool moves they do, but then you just end it in the cheesiest way, where the damage of this attack can be indescribable.
I think indescribable was for Splash Mountain Bomb.
Well, yes.
Oh man,
it's absolutely on point.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's like, let's just take all these cool like 90s and 80s anime and just smash them into one thing with Virtua Fighter as the label. You know,
we gotta promote Virtua Fighter. Virtua Fighter 3 is on the horizon. Anime,
yeah.
do it.
90s shit. Get a little Sailor Moon, a little Fist of the North Star, a little bit of Dragon Ball. Boom.
A little bit of Street Fighter 2V, because Akira's hair doesn't resemble anything that does in the game.
He doesn't resemble himself at all in the game, to be fair.
No. So I will just say briefly, there is a second season. It was never released in North America because low sales on the DVDs. It's actually Kage focused, because it's focusing on a rival clan trying to usurp Kage's clan and its various members, like trying to take over. So Akira, being his pen pal, eventually gets involved in Kage's business. It's fair. It's certainly a curiosity. Definitely a rare gem for any video game anime collection. I wouldn't say it's going out of your way to get the Discotheque collection for. But if you like Kage, well, after the first couple episodes, because lol, he gets captured. It's a recommendation.
I remember season 2 that well. Does it touch on like him falling in love with Sarah at all?
No.
It doesn't? They just give up on that plot line? Oh man.
Yep. Kage is getting captured by rival clan, and we gotta break him out. There's more fish to fry. But man.
Oh.
Right?
Comcast strikes again.
The robots have come for him.
Or is it Discord this time?
It's probably
Autobots, roll out.
Autobots roll out. Okay.
Dang, just when Brad is about to... man.
he was crescendoing on this, and I was there for it.
He's about to geek out like the Ultimate Warrior, and then
It really is a good show. I'm not gonna like lie to you at all. It's fun to watch.
I'll say this: I've seen excerpts of it. I actually seen the Kage versus Akira fight, and it's gold. It's 100% gold. It's so cheesy, over the top, and I'm seeing Akira get his ass beat by the ninja, which is always fucking funny.
The first whole season is on YouTube, free to watch if you guys want to be, you want it, or you guys are interested.
The only fighting game anime I liked was Street Fighter 2V. That is just a classic.
I think this one's honestly really good too. Like, no joke. Like, it's nothing like the games. Well, they take a lot of like stuff from the games, but like we talked about, Kira's nothing like Akira.
Actually, speaking of that clip, there was a title when they re-showed that clip. Don't you remember, Ren? Was it like Naruto like feared of this bitch or something like that?
I think so. Yeah, I just know that all of the fights are entertaining, and the fact that they gave characterization to characters that originally didn't have it is cool, because it's something that they didn't have to do, but they did for the anime, which is fucking dope. And also, I'm loving all this repping of Street Fighter 2V, and Ryu got his ass kicked by Guile. It was great. It was fantastic. Was Rad returned yet? No, he has not.
Kids?
He's back.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, fellow children. Let's talk about Virtua Fighter Kids.
Okay, sounds good.
So while I got into Virtua Fighter via Virtua Fighter PC, Virtua Fighter Kids was the second game I played because it had kids in the title, and I was a kid. I want to play this Virtua Fighter Kids game.
Was your head as big though? That's the real question.
Thankfully, it wasn't.
I had Virtua Fighter Kids alongside Virtua Fighter 2. I still have my Saturn copy right over there, and it is. I think it was simplified versus Virtua Fighter 2, but I honestly don't remember. I just like playing it because it was weird.
It was definitely easier than Virtua Fighter 2 because doing a normal arcade mode of that, oh, you about to learn real quick.
I mainly remember Virtua Fighter Kids because of all the really wacky, funny endings that you got when you beat the game with various characters, like Kagemaru playing mahjong with a bunch of other ninjas, and he loses.
Sleeping through an entire year.
How is he not dead?
I aspire to be that good.
Jesus, he's a complete hermit.
Fucking Jeffrey powerbombing the shark to protect his flower friend. This shit was weird, but I loved it.
The Jackie and Sarah duology.
Where he just gets kicked in the face.
Yeah.
That sounds like a brother-sister duo, not gonna lie.
They have a gold Akira in this game?
Yeah, everybody in Virtua Fighter 2 is in it. Here's all the endings. And of course, thumbnails Kagemaru's.
It's so weird seeing that child Shun completely bald, all beard.
All beard, chucking liquor.
Yep.
Yeah.
Boy, it's masculine. Don't fuck with him.
It's like, for a game to come to America, you don't get what's really kids about it. They're just smaller versions of themselves. They're not kid versions.
True, they're small with giant heads. That's it. That means kids.
I feel like a more apt name would be Virtua Fighter Chibi, because that's kind of how they look and what they are, essentially, since they are keeping their adult features.
But did the US know what chibi meant back then?
Probably not.
Oh no.
Or Virtua Fighter Mini.
That works too. That works even better, but it's either one or the other, because calling them kids is like, these are just adults with like big head mode on.
Dude, Lau is cooking in this kitchen in Virtua Fighter Kids ending. Holy shit.
I would not let my kid in the kitchen. He burned that motherfucker down.
He's doing the cartwheel kicks while holding a flaming wok. These addicts rock. Watch them all sometimes. It's only like 9 minutes, kids.
I actually did play this game. It was very, very temporary, but I know that they simplified the fighting of this game compared to like other Virtua Fighters. So I'm kind of not surprised by that. It's one of those wacky releases that a lot of people have not heard of. So I'm not surprised if you see this game and it really went under the radar for a lot of people. It really did, but I do think that if you're going into Virtua Fighter history, it is worth bringing up, and if you can obviously find a place to play it or sell the 7 Cs and Yar Har Har, you can do that as well.
It's the feeling of adult Jackie teaching kid Jackie how to fight, and he does the triple lightning kicks. Kid Jackie practices the lightning kicks, and the last kick he strikes adult Jackie with the lightning.
Mm-hmm.
That is
Actually, the copy of this
hilarious.
isn't too bad for a Saturn game.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was
I'm
fun
seeing
for
like
what it was.
$30
And on a side note,
nowadays.
did they ever release Kids on anything? Re-release it?
I doubt it.
I don't think so.
Let's look around really quick.
Like, shit, I'm surprised Sega hasn't done the Virtua Fighter Ultimate Collection. Like, fuck it, put in like the R-Zone version, Genesis version on it.
No, just arcade and Saturn. That's it.
Yeah, but I kind of have a soft spot for the Genesis version, even if it isn't very popular.
All right, so are we done with this question, or can we move on to the next one?
We can transition to the next one because kid versions of Akira Yuki and Sarah Bryant did make it into the crossover title Fighters Megamix.
I've played this game.
Yes, they did.
I've played this game twice. The only thing I remember is that you can play as one of the Daytona cars and use him as a fighter, and it's fucking fantastic. Like, you got a car beating people's ass.
Yep, Daytona
It's not
car.
just that. You can use the Sega AM2 tree as well.
You want a more obscure fighting game reference? Use your own logo as a fighter. There you go.
There's also Virtua Cop characters, and there was also there's a character named Seba who was originally meant to be in Virtua Fighter 1, but he was cut from the game and ended up getting replaced with Akira, I think. I can't remember properly, but yeah, it's interesting.
I see Sonic characters too. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ! And is that a giant cactus? Okay,
I think so.
this roster is absolutely insane. But it
Fine.
Oh yeah, I'm
Best
surprised
roster.
Sega doesn't try another one. Call it like, I don't know, Sega All-Star Brawl or some shit.
Don't make it
You
a
can
Smash
put in,
Ball.
like make it like a 3D fighting game. You could put in Kiryu and other Sega fighting characters.
Yep, people will buy it.
there is a giant cactus named Deku. I'm floored. All right then. Yeah, I've played this game once, but I did hear from JoJo that the characters take a grind to unlock. That's why I didn't like go through it just yet, unless I get a save or
Oh
something.
yeah, one quick question about the anime. Like for the dub, was it like where they where they recorded from? Was it like the Fatal Fury anime where it was like all Canadians?
Nope. New York actors.
Hell yeah.
Oh,
Because Sarah Bryant was voiced by the OVA Belle Dandy. That's how I know her.
Hey, Bill Dandy.
Wait,
Let's rent a hero.
one question: is there a JoJo character in Fighters Megamix?
Well, no.
Sorta.
There's Bon.
Bon.
You know, you talk about fighting vipers or whatever it's called.
No.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. Is he from there?
Bond.
Yes.
Yeah, Bond is from Fighting Vipers.
Yep.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I'm surprised that's not been brought up yet.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
the point of Megamix was Virtua Fighter cross Fighting Vipers and friends.
yeah, like it was popular to have like their own take on Jotaro. I mean, like rival schools had Daigo.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Bancho style characters are just very popular in Japan, and I get it because they are pretty like cool looking, you know.
Yes.
Because I saw his head from the back. I was like, is that Jotaro? Because he looks just like him, but hey, he's Bond, so gotta go with the flavor. All right, let's see. So I like I said, I have played a little bit of Fighters Megamix, and it was a nice wacky crossover. And I also play Fighting Vipers as well, which is awesome with knocking people in elevators and stuff like that. The rest of the question is talking about the other crossovers that they've had with Virtual Fighter. You got your DOAs, obviously, and then they had the Tekken 7 costume DLC and Virtual Fighter Ultimate Showdown. What do you think of them crossing over into other criteria, and do you want them to cross over into other games more often?
I kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I like that they have crossovers because that's sort of what kept me more interested into Virtua Fighter if I wasn't playing the games, because they were like in Project Crossover, which is a mega crossover, right?
Yep.
And then because you got DOA 5 and whatnot. But for a modern day crossover, I do hope like Akira or someone makes it into Tekken 8, because it's been so while since we had a new take on Virtua Fighter, and not some like re-release like Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown. So like I would love to see a different take on the characters, whether it could be Tekken or some other 3D fighter, because DOA ain't coming back with those characters again, so might as well give it to another IP.
I would like to go.
Sure.
Personally, I feel like the way DOA did it, I feel like they did those characters justice, and I want to say I agree with Brandon that they should bring characters like Akira to Tekken 8, because it would be a lot more interesting to see how they work in the Tekken system.
And then you
They might
have.
be broken for 'em.
Oh fuck! I just thought about that. Yeah, Virtua Fighter characters with Tekken mechanics. Well, I mean,
that's gonna be fun. I want it. I want it.
they made Akuma work. That I'm sure they could work no problem.
They made Negan work, all right. Like they could make anyone work in that play style.
Oh,
Like, come on, man, make it happen.
I just think that the most annoying part is going to be Jeffrey with.
Friend, they got Geese and Tekken. They can make it.
No, man, don't remind me of Geese shit. I mean,
Geese was the most character that fitted in the Tekken universe out of all the DLC characters.
I just
They can make a hero.
I'm scared of the possibilities of Jeffrey in that sort of movement style, so to speak, not movie. But I like all the crossovers that they did so far, and crossovers obviously is lifeblood of fighting games. It brings more. It's not a bad thing. People say the guest characters suck or stuff like that. I see that all the time, but it's not a bad thing because it gives recognition to both IPs. And Virtua Fighter is niche, so it really needs the leg up. And I don't mind those characters showing up because Virtua Fighter needs as much exposure as it possibly can get. So seeing those costumes in Tekken was cool, gave some recognition, and seeing them in DOA is probably the best crossover, at least in my mind, because it just all flowed and worked together. I wouldn't mind seeing them in Tekken as well, even though some characters might be annoying to fight, but that's like par for the course anyway. I would love to see them just even putting them in like just all the costumes, fighting against, like, maybe put some story in there if they want to, because I mean, if you made Akuma into a assassin against Kazuya and Heihachi, then I'm sure you could find something for these characters like to do, even if it's in a tournament or something like that, trying to fight for supremacy. Be like, I'm gonna be the king of Iron Fist now. That's totally fine to me. So that's what I have to say about crossovers so far. Anyone else want to go?
I'm fine with the crossovers. I'd rather just get a Virtua Fighter 6. But I don't know who would technically count as a crossover, but do we have any opinions on Virtua Quest? Anybody?
Virtua Quest?
I've
Shit,
never
yes.
heard of it.
You
Never
never
heard.
heard of Virtua Quest?
I hate you.
I heard of it, but I know nothing
You
about
get
it.
away, Rad. You might be the only one that knows what this is.
I heard of it,
So-
but I know nothing about it verbatim. So yeah.
So it's an RPG where you have this character that learns the character's moves through their souls.
Yep.
Otherwise, it is the typical 2000s GameCube froppy RPG, and unlike the anime, it's the bad kind.
He's not wrong. But I think it's an interesting little title, and there's not a lot of fighting game RPGs out there, so I think it's something worth mentioning at least.
Yeah. But if you ever wanted to hear every Virtua Fighter character ever speak English, it's something to look at least.
I have a question.
Go on.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but I have a question.
Yeah.
For Virtua Fighter, didn't they intend to make, like, for Shenmue, when they made Shenmue, didn't they intend to originally have that game as some sort of Virtua Fighter game?
Yeah, it's
Ah,
literally
fuck
called
it,
Virtua Fighter RPG, starring Akira.
Oh yeah, because I was thinking.
Me,
Go ahead.
oh, sorry. The gameplay system was literally built from Virtua Fighter. Itself just turned into a brawler RPG type shit. So yeah, it's effectively are playing Virtua Fighter in a different setting.
That's why Rio and Akira basically look like twins from what I saw.
Put Rio in 6. Put him in 6.
I'd be
Yeah,
fine
for
with that.
real. Yeah, they should put him in Ultimate Showdown, man, because that would have been sick.
That would have been a cool DLC. I would have bought the DLC. Fuck it. Put him in there.
Dude, I swear to God, it'd be him and Akira, and they would be just going out. This is because he has those elbows and knees and kicks that he does in some of his moves, so that would be pretty entertaining. To be
That's
honest,
the only fighting style he learns.
His mid boss, right? Right, his mid boss is him asking around looking for sailors, and someone points him to Jeffrey.
well, you're not wrong. You're not wrong technically.
Uh,
Oh man, that's hilarious. Any other people want to chime in on the crossover question?
Oh yeah, I was thinking about. I think Akira had a guard break move. How would that work in Tekken?
I mean, Tekken has guard break moves as well, though, but most of them are not safe. So, depending on how they go about it, though, it'll either be a safe option or unsafe. So, 50-50.
Either you're gonna get hit or you're basically gonna be opened up as one or the other. I think that's the logical way it's gonna go.
To give you an example, Anna, she has like a guard break move, but you can block immediately after she does it, assuming she doesn't go for a low.
Mm-hmm. So it could work. They can do it. It's just it just means it needs skill and application to see what's coming and try to do some reads. All right, I think. Oh, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was thinking about his Just Frame knee as well.
That too. Those are I can't. They might be easier to do if they migrated that to Tekken because I can't do that shit on Virtua Fighter. It's just no way. I don't know how people do that perfectly.
It might be blue sparks, because if you just frame certain characters, they become blue spark attacks. That's
Yep.
to indicate that he did the move correctly.
Yep, that's true. All right, so we're gonna move on to the music. Music is a big part of Virtua Fighter. What are some of your favorite themes in the series?
I have no opinion or comment on this one because I barely listen to the music, so I'm gonna skip this one.
That's fine.
The
Yeah,
entirety-
same here.
The entirety of Virtua Fighter 2.
yeah, I was gonna
That's
say.
all I need to say.
Ride the Tiger is goated. One of the best fighting game songs out there, especially if it starts with Akira's Jiren Hayandeo. That's good stuff.
Yes.
I'm gonna say Virtua Fighter 2 because, well, in my case, it's
There you go.
it's nostalgia because the music is very very good in Virtua Fighter 2, and Virtua Fighter 4 has some bangers too. Like I liked the Fort theme by Leon. I thought that was pretty dope, as well as the Ring of Strategy from Akira, where the music is just like all calm and chill, and then you enter the boss fight with Akira and he beats the ever living shit out of you. It's just something that's ingrained into my head because I remember he was like the final enemy before Doral. Yeah, it's just 4 and 2, man, has great tracks, and everything else is just a blur to me. 5 is also I think Final Showdown needs to be noted, I guess, because I'm a fan of like hard rock and I like the character select theme, just some of the themes in there in general from Gene Cujo and everything. So I feel like that soundtrack, I kind of just wish I could change all the music from Ultimate Showdown to Final, but hey, I digress.
I mean, you can in Ultimate.
I mean, like, for I try, but it's certain themes that I want to get. I wish it was just a little bit more
Right.
customizable, but you know, it's still really good for all the soundtracks they got squeezed into that edition where you get all the music. All right, so anyone else want to talk about music for Virtua Fighter? Rat, how about you?
Nah, yeah, I'm I'm with the board here. Virtua Fighter 2's is legendary from top to bottom, especially Black Moon Cat,
Black Moon Cat, they say.
which is Sarah's theme in with the Aurora Borealis going on.
Oh yeah, stage 2. That's one of the best
temple.
stages I liked.
It's like Sarah has great themes. The one she had in vanilla Virtua Fighter 5, like the rock theme.
I kind of like her theme from 4 because of the fact that I think it's Terminus, where
Actually,
we're literally in this stage with the Coliseum and you see the exploding lightning going all over the place. So you're like, what the fuck? What is happening here? Like, everything's being destroyed. And it's that creeping, foreboding music. I know she has more bombastic themes, but that just stood out to me as something that was really intimidating.
actually, is there a way to play the original Virtua Fighter 5 these days, other than buying the physical copy?
Oof.
That's the only way to get it.
The only way.
Damn. So Vanilla Virtua Fighter 5 stuck on PS3?
Yep.
No, it's
Xbox
no, it's
360.
360. It's 360 first, then PS3.
Oh,
PS3
But
okay.
has
it ain't
different
BC.
versions.
That kind of sucks because you don't get the fun like adventure mode where you're going from arcade to arcade fighting people. That stinks.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's kind of weird how they did it because the 360 version is technically the rawest version of consoles, I believe. The PS3 version is like the B version or whatever I really call it.
So they essentially gave us a GIMP version for PlayStation owners. God damn it. Well, that was pretty much common during the PS3 era anyway.
The Virtua Fighter 1 intro is also a theme worth respect. Where halfway through it's like ho hip ho hip ho.
Sound like Papa the Rapper, man.
And again, Sarah with great themes. I'm listening to her Virtua Fighter 3 theme right now, where it tries to be all like pixely and electronic, and it's great. It's so energetic.
But I think that's it for music, unless people want to chime in a little bit more.
I would say, for me, I haven't really listened to the entirety of the Virtua Fighter series soundtrack, but I had to say, Virtua Fighter 2 Akira theme is pretty good. Everybody said that, and I liked Akira's Virtua Fighter 5 theme. It has a lot of intensity to it.
I guess if I were to list off two more, I would say Jackie's theme and Jeffrey's theme from Virtua Fighter 2, where it's like dun 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 dun. It's very cool, and it's so fucking cool to listen to, man. It's awesome.
We need to do a name that tune where we have to do the music with our own mouths.
Oh god.
This is great. I love it.
But we're gonna move on to the next question, which is question number 8. If they made a hypothetical Virtua Fighter 6, then what direction do you want them to go into with that entry? Who wants to go first?
I guess I'll go set the stage.
Sure.
Okay with everybody else.
Sure.
For me, I think they definitely need to, I guess, modernize it. And I don't mean like for modern audience type shit. I mean like actually refine, evolve this gameplay, whatever. Because they can't just release like how they did with Virtua Fighter 5 now and just expect it to work. Because people will drop this shit quick and easily. Because unfortunately, we're in a day and age where like if they don't do anything different or new, nobody's going to stay with it long term. So I think they should definitely rework it while still keeping the essence of Virtua Fighter. Similar to like how Tekken 8 is doing right now. It's quite clear that they're definitely doing something different with Tekken, but it's still Tekken in the spirit, that type of deal.
I'm going to agree. It is something that they need to sort of try to think about how they're going to elevate to the next level. Because they can't just simply say, we're going to put out another hardcore Virtua Fighter and that's it. It needs a little bit more layers to it. Earlier, I said something about, hey, they could have 2 control schemes, one for new players, one for older. So you have that sort of paradigm like Street Fighter. And then maybe they could do something new. Like, they never One thing that kind of gets to me about Virtual Fighter is that like they don't they have a story there, but it's super paper thin with the characters. All you know is that there is a shady corporation that is doing these experiments, and Kage's mother.
IDOA.
Yeah, Kage's mother basically is turned into like a android, whatever she is, and they're mostly fighting this corporation behind the scenes. They could do something like that where they have a story mode now, so you can get the inner workings of J6 while also understanding these characters have arcade endings, arcade ladders, stuff of that nature. That would add a new dynamic to the game if they decided to do that.
Some of the people aren't even involved with the J6 stuff and are just kind of doing their own thing.
That's true as well. Like, it's not everyone's like into it, but there's also like legit tournament winners for each of them, and Kage's like a multi-tournament winner, so you can maybe delve into that. Like, why is he fighting? Why are these people doing what they're doing? And that would be an interesting story.
Jeffrey's just there to make money so he can get a bigger boat so he can kill the devil shark. That's his whole story.
Yeah, that's true, but it'd be nice to see it and fully active, because I want to see how ridiculous the dialogue would go if they decided to keep that. And then another thing is that like they're expanding on single player now, so they have this whole world hub where you can go and do stuff in, and they experimented with this before with the RPG stuff, so you can go around, fight, get clothes, just have something where people are on the clock playing as opposed to being away from it. And that's my opinion on what they should do. Just elevate it to the next level and do things that you probably could have done in the past but never done before. So I will pass the torch to Hades.
Honestly, I'd be fine with pretty much anything in a new Virtua Fighter 6 as long as they kept like the gameplay the same. The only thing I'm really worried about with a new Virtua Fighter is I mentioned it earlier in that every character has been in every game since its inception, since they've been released in a new game, and I'm kind of worried that in a new era we probably wouldn't get that. We probably would get some people sold as DLC, which would be a hell of a legacy to kill.
But even Tekken is unfortunately a victim of that.
I see that opinion, because it's like you want the returning cast and the new characters, but at the same time it's modern Sega, so they're probably gonna see the moolah for that and be like, oh well, we got these one or two characters here, we're gonna sell them as DLC or something like that. I just see that coming, unfortunately.
I think they'd be better off just like making guest characters all their DLC stuff. You can make a lot of bank off that.
That would be fair. That would be fair.
I think they won't do that though, because granted though, they might get a bigger cut of the DLC price, but guest characters tend to not obviously get full profit. So I mean, they will make more money just when making DLC characters of their own versus what they're doing.
I mean, like within within like the greater Sega sphere. I mean, like the people who said should be guest characters day one should be Kiryu and Majima, 100%.
Okay, that makes sense. I get you now.
Yeah, that's much better.
That'd be kind of crazy.
Keep it all in house. That'd be much better.
They could probably bring in a lot of like Fighting Vipers people too, since they're never gonna make another Fighting Vipers, I don't think.
Yeah, I would also want to clarify. I'm not against them having other guest characters outside the sphere. Like I wouldn't be against like a Gen Cosma or a Ryu from Street Fighter.
Yeah,
but I think they should definitely focus more on the in-house.
Fighting games are very, very incestuous these days. You just grab guests wherever you can get them, basically. But I would say Kiryu and Majima are my like number 1 and 2 for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I mean, even though go.
I was gonna say people always bring up like Kiryu doesn't beat up women, so maybe that would stop it, but I don't think that's too big of a deal, honestly.
I mean, that don't mean anything nowadays, because who said that quote ain't working there anymore.
All right, finally, we freed him, boys. Virtua Fighter 6, let's go.
Don't put him in Tekken. I just want to see the salt. But I don't mind them having other guest characters in there. Obviously, it's gonna take a little bit more money, a little bit more promotion, but hey, if it's something they need, then I think they need the promotion and all the recognition they could get on social media and all the hype too, because that also factors into these characters being popular in the first place. I just want the main thing is they should just kind of do it, because it's been so long since Virtua Fighter 5 actually came out, and it's just putting out versions of the same game over and over again, which people kind of want something new. So I hope they actually think about it and just put in the proper steps, because it's been such a long time since we've seen another Virtua Fighter game hit the market. Anyone else want to go on this?
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say my part real quick, but honestly, like Ren said, just add two control schemes like modern and classic. Even though modern's kind of controversial in SS6, but just have some drawbacks like maybe less damage or some moves get taken away. I think that would be fair. Maybe do like a story mode, like just make it like Shenmue, except you're with Virtual Fighter characters.
Oh, that'd be fucking lit.
I'm actually going to disagree with the control scheme standpoint, because the Virtua Fighter is a 3-button fighter, right? It's not so much you can do to simplify it, though. Honestly, it's not like Tekken and other games where you can actually condense a button.
Yeah, but
unless you want auto combos.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That's like the only other thing I can think of. But auto combos are pretty controversial on its own.
Yeah, oh, go ahead.
I mean, yeah, they are though, but these games that have them are so popular. I mean, do I need to bring up Dragon Ball Fighters?
True.
Yeah, but the reason I guess they could go down that route is for you see, it's weird because you gotta make it where it's simplified, but also make it where it's not a button masher, because then people are gonna get like super annoyed and say, "Oh, well, this scrub online," unless they like filter out the lobbies and say, "You people could play over here," and then the hardcore could play over here. That's the only way I think they can get away with like a button masher scheme.
No, so long as they don't repeat the mistake that DOA has done with the auto mode button, I think they will be fine. Because like, here, sure, they could just mash one button, right? But damage should be like significantly less, or it's easy to like bob and weave in the context of Virtua Fighter, right? Because in DOA, man, you can use the auto combo as a combo starter and then continue on from it, which is stupid in my opinion. But
yeah, I think the only other way is to try to get differing lobbies, because if I mean, it's going to be a catastrophe if they blend them otherwise. But that's all I have to say on at least improvements and stuff they could make to Virtua Fighter 6. Nero, you had something to say?
I was gonna say, like, yeah, they could, if they're gonna bring over like crossover characters in Virtual Fighter. Yeah, you can keep it in house. Introduce characters from the obscure 3D fighting games like The Last Bronx, Fighting Vipers, and stuff like that.
I forgot The Last Bronx. Such a good game. Go ahead.
And also, in terms of the story mode, we've seen like stuff like World Tour for Street Fighter 6. I feel like you could possibly pull that off with a Shenmue type story involving J6 and like little story mode with the new new Virtual Fighter.
Hey, just let me go around and beat up sailors as Kage. I'd be fine with that.
Yeah. If Kage's the main character for it, then I would be down to buy to play it.
It'll be like Virtua Quest. You're just some like generic anime boy or girl learning moves, and that's it.
Oh,
Jesus.
And then it's just like, I would say if they're gonna involve like guests in the story, they could have the main character from Shenmue be a hidden boss or something.
Have it be Londi. I need that. And then I'm gonna get absolutely destroyed by him. All right. So go ahead.
That seems like a good idea.
So, the one thing I would want from a proverbial Virtua Fighter 6 is better character guides.
I
Because
agree.
Virtua Fighter already has very nice tutorials, but if they could go more in depth on learning your character, easing you into that character, that would be really nice. I can't really think of much you would change or add that doesn't involve a big ass story mode that takes away from the fighting. Just in general, make your tutorials more in depth because you're already good. You're already good. Like Virtua Fighter 4 is Evolution is some of the best tutorial work I've ever seen.
Yep.
I can agree 100% on Rat with that.
Yep, but what you do could certainly be better, and I think it just needs more of a ease that little barrier of entry a little bit.
Like, I enjoy Street Fighter 6's character guides because it breaks down the special moves, and you have the character in text boxes narrating them in character to tell you how cool they are, what they do, and what you can do with them. I want to see a lot of that in Virtua Fighter 6, a proverbial Virtua Fighter 6, of course.
I agree, absolutely. All right, final question. We're gonna rank the entire series, the stuff that we've played, at least from person to person. I'm going to go with Rat first.
Put me on the spot, why don't you? Yeah, I'm going back and forth in my head between 2 and 5 because it's solid classic gameplay versus refined close to perfection of the modern era. And I would personally give 5 the edge because I think 5 can be played today no problem. 2's a little weird to go back to, all things considered, because the literal gravity is so different in that game. You just moon jump like a motherfucker every time you try to do a kick in the air. So 5 is at the tippy top, all versions. Then 2, then kids, then 4, then 1. Since 1 is the standard, but it hasn't aged well, and 3. I didn't like a lot of
Wait.
3's decisions.
Wait, which version of 1? Remix?
1 in general.
Oh, okay.
Because Remix is just, hey, let's touch up the graphics a bit.
Oh yeah, that's true.
3 is the lowest because it has things like a dodge button and scaling stages, and it's very ambitious, but it went so far different that the
It was not
integrity
Virtua
of the
Fighter.
game, the integrity of the game just collapsed.
It didn't feel like a Virtua Fighter game.
So like try playing on that raft stage, knock someone down, and watch the hijinks ensue. That's where I'm at.
I have never played 3, so this phenomenon of it being the worst one yet is interesting
If
to
you
me.
can, just play the arcade version.
I guess that's significantly better.
Not much, but you know, gets the job done.
Okay, so it's better than nothing. Or just playing better Virtua Fighters. I'll rank my list really quickly because I haven't played 3, so I'll rank what I played. I would say Virtua Fighter 4 is at the top for me. I have a affinity of that game. I'll put Evolution up there, that version, because it has basically more updates and everything you need. New stages, new characters, new things for the item shop that you can unlock. It's perfect. Next would be Virtua Fighter 5. It doesn't matter the version. I prefer the Ultimate Showdown because that's the one I've been playing the most. But the original and Final Showdown, not bad. Either way you go, you'll be playing something that's equally great. Then I would say Virtua Fighter 2 because while I do really like this game, I feel like the other ones I listed has more refined mechanics, so to speak. So I can't put it like way too high, but it is still a great time. And if I were to put one next to low, I'm gonna put the first one, not just simply because it's like a bad game or anything, but because it's their first one. So you could tell playing it versus all the other sequels, it's a bit rough around the edges and kind of dated. However, that being said, if you have a love for nostalgia, you want to go back or you want to experience Virtua Fighter the first time, you can play that version. And I believe that there's actually a secret in Virtua Fighter 4 Evolution where you could go back and play the Virtua Fighter 1 skins and stages and mechanics in that game, which makes
Yeah,
it.
it's a revision of the first game, but with Virtua Fighter 4 characters.
Yep. And it's equally as cool because all the new characters are under the Virtua Fighter 1 skins that you could play as them. So it's really awesome that way.
Which you could also do in Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown.
Yep. That is really dope. I'm going to pass the baton to Kaneki.
Okay, so I would put Ultimate Showdown as the first, obviously, as best, because it is right now the best way to play Virtua Fighter, especially if you're new into the series. When I put second place, I would put. It's hard between Virtua Fighter 2 and 4 because I do like them, despite despite them being a bit harder than Virtua Fighter 5. I would just put 2 for nostalgia reasons, also because of the soundtrack and the characters, models. Virtua Fighter 4, I will put in third because Evolution specifically, because not only new characters added with new stages, but also like we talked about a moment ago, the revision of Virtua Fighter 1, just with added new character, add the new characters being part of the revision Virtua Fighter. That's a cool thing. They should do something like that where for Virtua Fighter 6, just put the Virtua Fighter 2 models in some of the original characters. That's like a bonus skin. Um, Virtua Fighter 3, I would put next to last. Not because of the like how it plays, but I did not feel it shouldn't need a dodge button, but here we are in that game. Also, I would still recommend playing the arcade version of Virtua Fighter. I played the Dreamcast version. It's just no, I would just play the arcade version of Virtua Fighter 3 TV. I think it's also the only Virtua Fighter game where it allowed tag team battles, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes, it has to be because I don't remember that being anything else other than that game.
And I think it's the only game where it does it. I don't think any other Virtua Fighter have tried to add that mode back in.
Nope.
There's no
Like-
tag battle in 3. It's the TB is for team battle.
Or team battle. So KOF?
Yeah.
Yeah, more or less.
Okay. And then last, obviously, Virtua Fighter 1, period. No matter which version, because despite Remix being touching up the graphics a bit, I just can't go back playing that game, man. It's way clunky, way more clunky than Virtua Fighter 2. And that, by comparison, graphic-wise, looks more redefined. Way better game, but holy shit, I can't go back to Virtua Fighter 1. It's like Tekken 1, but except Tekken 1, you could still play it easily by comparison to Virtua Fighter 1.
Hmm.
I'm done.
Hades, what about you?
If I had to rank them, probably be going like 5, 2, 4, 3, 1. And I pretty much kind of echo a lot of the sentiments that have been said already. Like 5 is easy to get, it's pretty fun to play, really enjoyable. 2 is the GOAT, like it's the one that put the series on the map. 4 was also extremely good. 3, I don't really remember playing that much, so I can't comment on too much. And 1's just kind of like the foundation. Well, it's not that good today. It was very, very revolutionary at the time it came out.
I agree with that.
Drill bit. What about you?
Yeah, mine doesn't change too much, but it's probably 3, 4, and then 1 at the bottom, I guess. Personally, 5 and 2 are like the ones I actually really played, while the others I've only, like I've dabbled in them, but not enough to at least say that I've actually fully played. But yeah, 5 is still really solid, even if it's like very hard to get into. Same with 2, that's a classic. That's like all I'd have to say.
Nero?
I'd say 5, 4, 5, 4, 2, 5, 4, 2. Then 3 and 1 at the bottom because I haven't played Virtual Fighter 3 or 1. So yeah.
Hmm. And Brandon, what about you?
Well, I was going to say 5. I guess 4 and 2 because it's the only ones I played. But yeah, 5, 5, and 5 there.
This is all the multiple versions, just all 5.
Yep,
Uh,
Royal 5.
and Rat, you already went, right? Right?
Yes, sir. 5, 4, 2, 1, 5, 2, 4, 1, 3.
All right, understandable. I have a bonus question before we sign out. So I clearly have it labeled that there is multiple versions of some of these virtual fighters, like remix 1, 4 with the original evolution, and all the multiple versions of 5 as well as
Hold
3
on.
and
You forgot one more addition to Virtua Fighter 4,
I did.
and that was the final edition that came out exclusively to Japan, arcade only.
What was it called?
I think I said it.
Final Tune.
A final what?
Final Tune.
Yeah,
Final
Final Tune.
Tune. Oh, okay.
Which you could play on Fightcade right now to test it out.
Because I've heard of this version, which I need to specify, and I remember it coming out, but it was all the way in the back of my head because I do remember you saying, of course, it was Japan exclusive, so it never came stateside. But they tweaked the mechanics of the game, and I think they also added in some more new stuff for cosmetics. Let me actually check that real quick while I'm talking about this. But does anyone have any sort of experience with the other versions of Virtua Fighter?
I've played vanilla Virtual Fighter 5. I've only played vanilla and Final Showdown. I want to get my hands on R, but I don't know how to.
I've played the ones mentioned. Well, actually, I played Vanilla 5, Final Showdown, which is what I talked about with the awesome kick-ass music and the addition of some of the newer stages and everything, and then it was Ultimate Showdown. I think it was another version of 5 as well, but I forget what that was. Probably arcade exclusive. But yeah, going from Vanilla 4 to Evolution was insanity, and the fact that you got also 2 new characters, Go and Brad, was a nice addition to that package. So that's the definitive version of 4, if you ask me. I've never played Final Tune, but I mean, it'd be cool if they make like a big collection like Drill was talking about, where they add all that stuff in and you could version select. That'd be the coolest thing they could do. As for 3, I've never played that version at all. So I can't tell it's different between arcade and regular, but I would assume obviously some newer stuff in there that worked and some that didn't. Also, Drill, what were you saying?
I was gonna say, has anyone ever actually seen a Virtua Fighter like arcade machine like in the flesh?
I have. They had one for Virtua Fighter 2 in a bar, or well, just a little dinery to eat, and I seen one for Virtual Fighter 1 in the actual arcades of my hometown because they had that, and they had Mortal Kombat at the time and all this other stuff. So yes, they did exist where I lived. I'm not sure about everyone else.
I can't say I have, unfortunately.
Interesting. Also was another version of 5 called Virtual Fighter R, which again, this is just cropped up on my mind. It exists, so this is all new to me. Anyone else want to chime in, or we can go to outros? I'm going once, going twice. Soul to the Sarah Bryant and Blue. All right, we're gonna sign off. This was a fun podcast talking about Virtua Fighter. So of course, very underrated series. Get into it if you haven't. Definitely try to play as many as you can or emulate one way or the other. I'm Renegade Operative. You can find me on social media on X videos at RentOperative_. I recently made a TikTok, so you can find me at RentOperative_ there. You can also find me on YouTube at Renegade Operative, where I will be uploading all this content. I recently uploaded a podcast on Legend of Zelda with the other crew from yesterday, so check it out. Next is Connect.
The only way you can find me is on YouTube, Twitter, or still calling it Twitter, not calling it X. And Discord under the same names as Google Order. And I can't wait for MK1 next week. Early access, baby.
Yeah, you lucky bastard. Next up,
Ren, how you didn't get it?
I decided to get the regular version because I'm going on a trip, sir. I gotta save up for that.
Damn. All right. Fair enough.
Next up is Mr. Rat.
You can find me on Twixter at the Rad, and you can find my YouTube Rad's Rad Games, where yes, I am also looking forward to Mortal Kombat 1. I've been playing through the older Mortal Kombat games, and starting this week, I'm getting to the HD era of Mortal Kombat. So you can check that out on my YouTube channel, Rad's Rad Games.
Next up is Mr. Hades. Where can we find you, buddy?
I'm on Twitter at Hades_Manticore, on YouTube at City State Manticore, and if I ever get around to streaming ever again, it's twitch.tv Hades Manticore.
Drobit?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter, not ever calling it X, at nine tags Drobit777. But yeah, it's always going to be Twitter, not X. I don't think anyone's ever unironically called it X.
That's the second site for porn. I mean, they probably could get away with it. But my shenanigans aside, go ahead.
But yeah, that's all you can really find me at. So yeah.
Awesome. Next up is Nero.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, under the name Teen Nero Barrage. If I ever do decide to get back to streaming again, because I've been busy with work and trying to keep my bills paid.
Understandable. Brendan, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twix at Immortal Brendel. You can catch my Linktree, other associates and affiliations, and just give me Mortal Kombat 1 already.
Well, that will be for us. It'll be on the 19th, so we'll be playing it then. I'm probably gonna do a stream of that game, so that's gonna be a fun time. But we're signing out for Virtua Fighter, and then this is
give Brent the day zero combo.
I mean, sir, I've been practicing, so I'll be straight with
for
you.
MK1.
Yeah, even though Scorpion sucks, we'll save that slander for
I'm
when
not
we...
to use Scorpion. I can use Johnny Cage.
I can use Johnny Cage too, sir. What are you talking about?
It's so good.
He's so good. I just, it's unbelievable. I can't wait to talk about that game too. because
Yes.
we'll finally have our hands on all the characters. So definitely next Buster Wolf is gonna be MK impressions. It's gonna be nice.
If I can get my hands on MK, then I might be able to chime in.
Okay, well, Drill wants to get beat up like 10 times. That's fine by me. But we're signing out on this podcast. We hope you guys enjoyed it, and we will see you for the next one later.
Oh,
I
Hashtag-
is that it?
still want to fight.